All right, Mr. Steve. Guess what? We're live, buddy.
Whoa, you got me.
Tell him anything. I'm chewing on food like a chipmunk. I haven't eaten all day. Man, we are late by a couple minutes, but we're all good. 10 minutes late.
Yeah, you know what? It's Friday night. It's almost, well, it is spring. And I'm sure, everybody will pile in. So you know what? Let's just play some Warren D. Martini licks or something, It sounds like it. Why not?
We got to get your guitar pumped up, but it sounds good. We can kind of hear it. Hey, welcome everybody to our Friday, I think we're live podcast. And I hope everybody's having a good week. It's Easter holiday for some people. And yeah, it's going to be hopefully a party, drinky weekend. Lots of food, the honey baked ham and all that nonsense. And yeah, this week we got some fun things to talk about. I was kind of in a rush today, so I just sat down, got this together. I hope everything on YouTube's working out. If there's any echoes or anything, let us know. If there's any audio issues, as always, let us know. I got to put the post on Facebook, make sure people know there. I'm seeing a thing that says we're on air, so this is working, I think.
Yeah, we got three people in the room.
Listen, hey everybody, hey three, hey you three.
What's going on?
This week we're going to talk about, so funny enough, we got a communication with Ron Thal, sort of, kind of, and Bumblefoot, the man himself. And last week I felt so bad because he watched some of our podcast, and he really liked the Scott Henderson solo thing, which was awesome. The fact, and I still haven't responded. I'm so bad at responding, but I will this week.
I was like, I have to respond to like Bumblefoot because you didn't do it.
I'm so bad, but I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about responding. Like I've been every day going, I got to do that. I got to do that.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't, I don't know Ron like on a personal level, but I've met him a bunch of times to the point where like we have a bunch of mutual friends. So I just was like, hey, it's Steve. I know you from so and so, and he was like glad to reconnect. But he watched the podcast from what I could ascertain, and he actually enjoyed it, which he must be drunk. He must be drunk with us. Because I think it's this is a real nerd challenge. If you can make it through 2 hours of us babbling incoherently from topic to topic, you fully are a nerd.
Yeah, we're undersell. Listen, as a joke, we undersell ourselves. I think we're doing a good job. Let us know if you guys think the same thing. I think we're managing. Again, this is more just a conversation with me and Steve. Like we don't get to talk all week. A lot of us we get busy. Yeah. And when we do talk, we end up finding ourselves like on the phone for 45 minutes, an hour, whatever. And we're like, why don't we just do this in a podcast? There's so much good, fun information. I mean, we reminisce all the time. So, and then we talk about the things that we've learned this week or what we dove into. And we got a bunch of that. We got some record stuff we're going to talk about that I didn't plan on talking about, but I just kind of got sidetracked today and went to a record store with another buddy that's into records like Steve is. And I got a whole bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have done, but anyway, I got to talk about the Vemuram stuff and the Samick guitar, which is a follow-up from last week, the Blue Saraceno guitar. The Bumblefoot thing I want to talk about because there was a lick I wanted to show last week I didn't really get to. So when Ron watched the thing, I guess because I tagged him in. We didn't even do that, and I felt so bad. I'm like, oh man, the guy was sat through and he watched. But the fact that he liked the Scott Henderson, I'm sure he knows the Scott Henderson solo or whatever. But the fact that he watched it and he said, man, that solo, that was a great solo. I mean, it's not me, it's Henderson's solo, but I'm sure he appreciated the fact that it was played halfway decent. If we watched any of it. So anyway, I'm going to go over that Bumblefoot lick, which I haven't really played that much today. So it's going to be goofy, but it's still a fun little lick. I also want to talk about, if Steve can remind me, because I'm kind of all over the place, which is not something that I'm not used to, but I want to talk about bending strings with different guitars and different trem systems because that's really important. I think a lot of people don't. I think about it all the time, and it really is guitar specific, and there are different techniques, just in case anybody's interested in this little tip. and there was something else that I want to talk about, but there is also the combination of the pedals that I'm using right now, and the input of the guitar amps that most people don't think about, and it made a huge difference. Like last night, I was just playing for 5 hours straight. I was like, this is just by switching the input, and there's a reason why, and we'll get into that. So anyway, talk, Steve. What do you got going on? How's your week going? I'm going to post this thing on Facebook, and let's.
You do that. Well, first off, welcome everybody that's out there. I know I see my buddy Kevin was late to joining us. He was clipping his nails, so I understand. I was actually upstairs taking a little siesta in between. I needed my beauty Z's, but this was a good week. Got a lot done in my day job, and then I'm actually, I have my guitar in my hands tonight, and this is, if anybody's curious, this is a brand called Tease, and this is a small budget brand that is based out of New York. And
let's see that again. Show that to us again.
Yeah, so it's a Strat shape. The whole guitar cost $180, but what's amazing, what's amazing about this guitar is it's got stainless steel frets. It has look at the cutaway on the back. It's got an actual it's got
that's crazy.
Cutaway. Yeah.
So I'm going to show my screen real quick. On the other hand, this guitar that looks quite like that, right, is a Sir guitar.
Yeah.
And this
which costs
is
$5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Now it has special single coil like silent system things, which is hugely important, especially in LA, because there's so much noise in the electronics and stuff. So that's part of it, but not $5,000 different.
Yeah. No, what's funny about this guitar was I was basically gifted this from the owner, Torsten. I did a demo for him for his other guitar, which is a Telly shape. And our friend Nat Janoff has been playing his Telly on the New York, I guess, when he's doing New York gigs and stuff. But I had gotten this guitar and I just completely forgotten. I felt bad because Torsten's such a good dude, the owner. I was like, oh man, I gotta bring this out and I gotta start playing it. So I wanted to just kind of share this out there because it's amazing what you could get for your money. And this is a good guitar. Like it's not, like there's a couple things, I'll be honest, that I need to change on it, but nothing major. The springs, like it has like cheap springs. They kind of like when you stop playing, you kind of hear them a little bit. Now what I could do is just put foam in the back also and deaden them. So that's one thing I can do. But everything on this guitar is solid. It's amazing for the money that what you can get when you're looking into it. But I was playing it, and it's funny that you're talking about like when you're bending and doing vibrato with when you go from guitar to guitar, because you do need to reacclimate 100%. It's funny that you brought that up because I was going to talk about that as well. Today I've been playing this guitar. I restrung it up the other day, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so much different than like a Strat. It plays different than a Strat. It's kind of also got ceramic pickups, so it's a little bit more geared for a little more rock stuff than my traditional Strat stuff. But I've been playing this guitar all week, and Kevin had just asked me what happened with the bones. So I've been in this like Firefly mode. Have you ever seen these Bones Firefly George Lynch guitar, Dave?
I have. You know what? Funny enough, I wish. So I'm selling a few things on Craigslist and on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and I have an EVH, and somebody wanted to sell me one of those bones or trade me. So I have an EVH that's about probably $2,500. It's the made in Japan version, and they wanted to give me their Bones guitar or whatever. And so if it was worth value of $2,500, I don't know if it was one of the Lynch ones that were actually made or if it was a knockoff. I didn't check too much into it because I mean, it's cool. It's really cool, but I'd never want to sit there with a heavy guitar like that.
Right. Well, that was the thing. And then, these Fireflies always look so compelling because they're all $250, pretty much shipped. And so I reached out. There's a YouTuber that I've become kind of friendly with. His name is Rich Bischoff, and he actually gigs. He's in a fairly large tribute band, and he tours. He does like the cruise ships, and he's got a really cool YouTube channel. A very nice guy. And so like every time I have a question about something, I'm like, dude, because he just posted a video about the Firefly bones, and I messaged him. I'm like, dude, is that all legit? He's like, yeah. He goes, I didn't have to do anything different to it.
Wow.
And, and I trust this guy because he can play, because there's demos of like where people do YouTube, and it's like they can't even fret a chord. And I'm just like, oh man, but this guy can play, and I trust that, he's actually working as a guitar player, making a living from it. So when he reached back out to me, I was like, maybe I should do this. And I was just like, yeah, but how often am I going to play that guitar?
Yeah. But for $200, I mean, as an art piece, as just something in that you play a little bit and, it's fun, especially if you're doing these kind of things, it's fun to poke in with something like that. But yes, there are better places to spend $250, let alone trade a $2,500 guitar for something like that.
Right. But I can't lie. I think it's like one of the coolest.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. In fact, even the same thing with the Gem guitars, dude. I was watching somebody showing one of the old Gem on a YouTube video, Gem Floral guitar, and it was the original '80s version. And they were talking about how this, they did the neck's just way too thin, but the pickup sounded great. I mean, the pickup sounded like exactly like the Passion and Warfare album. Like he was playing Blue Powder or whatever that song was.
Yeah.
He was playing a few other tunes that were very clean tony, spanky, but also there was a thick Hendrixy thing, and it was all off of that album. Then he was playing some of the solos from a few of those songs, and man, it just sounded great. I mean, it sounded but he said, the pickups were awesome. He said just the neck is just a little way too thin. And there was something else about it that he wasn't super fond of. But I've always loved those. The monkey grip, they were just too expensive and not exactly fitting what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, like all those guitars and the nostalgia factor of them. Yeah. When they come back in cheaper versions, like copies, it's just always like, I'm always like, oh, you got to hold me down. I can't do it, because there's another brand too that I've seen a lot of, and I don't know if you've seen Steve Brown from Trickster has his own guitar brand through Guitar Fetish, SBS guitars, and they look exactly like Charvel's.
Okay,
they're really cool looking, and again, that guy Rich, who I trust, he's been playing them, using them for gigs. That's the thing. Like when somebody does YouTube and they just make videos, that's one thing. You can doctor the crap out of a video. Yeah. But like if you're actually going up on stage and using that, that's the real, that's the real testimony. And he's using these on his gigs and stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. But I was like, oh man, that looks really cool. These Steve Brown guitars have, like, again, they have stainless steel frets. They have like the Floyd Rose Special, which isn't the best Floyd Rose, but it's still better than, like a knockoff. And it just looks, and they look cool. And, I'm like, but I already have a Charvel. Like, why do I want another? Like, why do I want?
Well, it's funny. All those times you go through, like even so I saw on, maybe it was Reverb or something. I saw another Wolfgang, and I just have two. I have a standard. I have a two standards. I have two specials. I have the Made in Japan. I really do love those guitars. They fit my hand well. I like their pickups. But they're very similar. I don't need all these guitars. And but then I saw another one that was a limited edition. I think they only made like 700 of them or something, and they were like this wood grain, but it was like an but the difference too was it was an alder body instead of basswood, which all these are basswood bodies. And I was like, you know what, that would be interesting to have this made in alder body, but they wanted $2,500 for it, and I was like, no, I just don't. One, I don't need another one. Second of all, the alder's not going to be so different than some of my other. But when it comes to like the Samick, the blues thing, that's something I could bite. It being $500, even if it was $700, I would have bid at it. Being $500 for something I've been looking for so long, it's not, and the pickups turned out to be absolutely stellar. Like they're just I brought it down to my guitar tech. If people aren't familiar or they didn't watch last week, I ended up getting this guitar. Basically, let me lower my camera better. But it's basically a Blue Saraceno guitar. It's the old Samick. It's the TV-20. And it's just awesome. The neck's amazing. It's not quite a baseball bat, but it's really thick. These pickups are special for this guitar, Seymour Duncan pickups, and they're light wound, so they're not like really overdrive specials or anything like that. And it's amazing. I can't stop. I haven't played anything since I've gotten this. And I brought it to my guitar tech, and there was a little bit of buzzing, and I did notice when I looked down the neck that it was slightly goofy. So I didn't have the tool because the tool is at the headstock here, and that pit in there is really deep, exceptionally deep, which is really weird. And it's not a regular Allen wrench; it's a nut, a socket. So I didn't have a tool to do that. So I go down to my guitar tech. And he sets it up. And I did also notice at the 12th fret on this side, on the bass string sides, low strings, it had, not just was it warped, not warped, but it needed adjustment, but it also, it did this kind of thing. And then at the 12th fret or so, it kind of did it again, but not much. And it was only on this side. And he said that's because they probably only put the truss rod down to the 12th or 15th fret. Like the truss rod doesn't go all the way through. Really? Which a lot of these guitars, when he does guitars, a lot of them cheap out by just not doing that. Or they think it's stable enough being a bolt-on neck that it's not going to really do anything on these frets here. So he adjusted it, and then all of a sudden, funny enough, so he adjusted it, and then I start seeing him do this with the neck like he's bending it. In fact, I think he took it with his knee and he bent it. And I'm like, what do you do? I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. But once you do that, the wood has to be just re-hammered out a little bit or moved. Yeah. And then now, dude, and that warp has even gone away a little bit. So I think he said that it's great. He loved the pickups. That was my point. He literally said, dude, these pickups, man, they did them right back in the early 90s, early 2000, late 80s. They wound them perfectly. So, and then the cool thing is I've been using the Vemuram pedals. I did get the Myriad Fuzz, the Josh Smith one, and it's awesome. It's everything I expected, because what's cool about that is I don't love a lot of fuzz, but I turn it, when you turn it down slightly, it's just an overdrive with like this grit to it. That's more different grit than what an actual overdrive or a distortion gives you. So it is awesome. But now my phone's talking to myself. So then what I've been really falling into is I've been combining the pedals. I'm going through the Landau DeVille amp, the Fender Landau DeVille amp, which is an amazing amp, and it's a great clean platform to take pedals. Now I love each one of those. I was thinking I wouldn't keep all three because I got the Shanks pedal, the ODS one, all Vemurams. The ODS one, I got the Myriad, I got the Landau Butter Machine, got them all for great. I don't know how all these popped up at such great prices, all within the week. 2 weeks I was looking for them. And then, and then there's the other one. I forget which, not the ODS, but there's another one that's the Jan Ray. And so I love them all for different reasons. I was thinking I wouldn't keep them all, but now I'm thinking I'm going to, especially now that I'm putting the Jan Ray.
You're stacking them, basically.
So the Jan Ray into the ODS is magical. And so the ODS is the main thing. The Jan Ray, and the problem is it's like I love the Jan Ray for what it does. I love all of these for what they do. But when you stack them, you have to change the settings on one of them because you can't just pile on top of.
Right.
So I have
one's driving the other.
Yeah. So I had to pull the Jan Ray back pretty far, but it does this thing. It makes it juicy. It brings out more harmonic frequencies in it. And it's more touch sensitive. It's awesome. So I could see why some people have multiple of these pedals on the board so that when they use them solo or when they use them, mashed into another pedal. The other thing is what I stumbled on is it was still not harsh, but there was, it was just a little too martially punchy to me. And I like squishier Fendery sounds, if that makes sense to anybody.
Yeah.
So it pulls off the top end a little. It rounds it a little bit. It smooths it out, so it's not just in. But I do love the martially punch. So I'm in between here, and then I was like, you know what? I forgot about plugging into input 1 and input 2. So if you plug into input 2, most Fender things pull off a few dB, plus they round it out and soften it a little. The only problem is it loses a little of the dynamics because it's doing that, right? You have more dynamic range with that martially in your face right out there, because when you lighten up a lot, it really cleans up. And
Well, so my understanding too with that, so I could be completely wrong. So maybe if somebody knows something more than me, which is possible, and I see some friends in the chat, so we're going to get to everybody. But my understanding with that was, because I have a Hot Rod Deluxe, and when I would play my Les Paul, I would put that into the second input because that seemed to
hotter pickups.
And then, yes, right. So that was my understanding, was that you put your hotter pickups into the second input, and then your like stratier ones into the
first input,
number one input. Yep. Yeah.
So that's what. So this one, funny enough though, that's what was weird about this, because these aren't really hot pickups. They're not like the EVH pickups. They're not like most like my Van Halen guitars and stuff. The Stripe series and all that. This is a lot cleaner, but it's still, when I plugged it into that second input and I adjusted those pedals just a little bit, it just sounds awesome. I'm going to play a little here, and I don't know if it's actually going to come through again. I just threw a mic in front of it. I didn't really angle it properly. I don't know what tones. That's the problem with this. Every time I record and I listen back, the tone's good. Different. The tone's okay. Yeah. It's not awesome like I'm hearing it in the room. So, and that's why I was going with the Tonex stuff, because pretty much it was 1-to-1. What I was getting is what I was giving.
Sure.
But recently I've just been into this pedal thing, and we'll get back to the Tonex. They had an update recently. We can talk a little about that.
I'm still on the GP50. I haven't even.
Oh, really?
My Tonex.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't fired my Tonex.
Oh, that's
up
funny.
In almost like going on almost 2 months at this point.
Are you using the amalgam profiles and stuff, or are you using other? Yeah.
Oh yeah. On the GP50, yeah, absolutely. But I gotta fire up the Tonex. But it's just every time I plug in, I'm just like, I find myself playing for hours. Whereas with Tonex, it's weird. I'm always like tone searching, tone questing. But with this, I don't know why. It's just interesting. But
right.
Yeah. So anyway, our friend Pete Paccio, Mr. Chicago himself, is in the chat. And he says, hey, Steve, our old buddy George Galvin owns like 5 of them. So I'm assuming that George owns some of the Saraceno guitars on the that's kind of what you're referring to.
Whoa,
Pete.
wait, what?
Yeah, I gather, right, Pete? I'm assuming that.
And he wants to sell one of them, especially the plaid?
Well, I don't know if he's talking about the Yamaha or
the Yamaha. Even that, the Yamaha. I've been after for 2 decades. I've been after the plaid on this.
I've never seen that Yamaha in the wild. I
have. So I think there might even be one on Reverb right now, or there was a little while back. Really? It was asking for a stupid price, and the Yamaha doesn't intrigue me as much as these do for some reason, although it does intrigue me. But I love that whole plaid thing. I mean, that was such a great phase that blues went through. I mean, it was just cool. It was so different. It was so simple. There was nothing, but the color combinations were really well designed. And I mean, I don't know how the Yamaha guitar is, but I've heard nothing but good things about these. You know, being part of Valley Arts at that one point or whatever. Yeah.
I had an RGX for a while, a little earlier than Blues, and mine was a complete Jackson ripoff. It was a total Jackson ripoff. It had the shark skin or the shark inlays. It literally looked like, if you saw it, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a Jackson." And it had the it's like a Kaler on it, and I never gelled with that guitar, which always bummed me out when I sold it. But I was just like, because I worked my butt off teaching for that guitar, and when I got it, I was so proud of myself. But I just wanted one to have one. But then when I got it, I was like, I just never gelled with it. So I traded
Right.
it for my Hamer Explorer, which I freaking love that guitar, man. But yeah, but the Yamaha is great. They make cool stuff. I just can't really get into the Yamaha stuff, and I don't know across the board because Yamaha just had like relaunched all their and I forgot the name of that line.
Pacificus.
The Pacificas. They relaunched them like a year or two ago, and I went and played them, and I was just like, oh man, $1,500. This is uninspiring. This is
Yeah,
underwhelming. You
Shane.
know,
So when I was at AIM, Shane got a sponsorship with Yamaha and Ovation, and then he got a sponsorship with Hamer, or I don't know if he was sponsored with Hamer. I think Hamer just gave him some guitars, which he still uses one to the day. He scrubbed off the name Hamer on the neck or whatever. In fact, he had two of these green ones, and he was going to
green ones,
yeah,
yeah,
and he was going to sell me one of them, and he said the one he uses is kind of magical. The other one's good. It's not great, but it's really good. And I was like, nah, that's when I had just picked up my Sir guitar, and I was like, I don't need another Strat. But the Yamaha, the Pacifica he used, it was just a black. It was kind of, I mean, I think that was the first sponsorship he got, and it was a good guitar. I think he modded it out and made it a little better or whatever, but it had the back in the 80s day, 90s, less sophisticated build as far as the neck went and all that, and the body even.
Yeah.
But man, through a Mesa Boogie, I think he was using the Mark IV, maybe the Mark II. No, the Mark IV at the time, and a PV 5050 power amp through Boogie Tube 12. He made that thing sound amazing, dude. As good as any guitar. And he played that for years until he started using the Hamer and then getting all the other stuff. And now he's more into, more valuable kind of.
Right.
Not for the sake of the value, but because they do tend to have some magic to it.
Right. And again, it's the tools that, kind of make the player, not the other way around. Yep. So, I mean.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I see Pete says it's the Samick stuff. All right, Pete, we got to talk. Who know? Wait, so who is this? Who is this guy?
So George was a dude. He kind of knew everybody. I mean, well, Pete kind of knows everybody too. But from what I gathered,
I did see that. I do see some of his posts throughout the years, and it seems like he knows a lot of people.
Yeah, Pete kind of like knows everybody. He's like the magic man. He just kind of connects people. But I guess him and George and like. When I went to NAMM, the first time I met Pete, I went out with Metal Mike, who was in Halford's band. And then I went out with my friend Rich Rodriguez, who my friend Kevin, who's knows very well. And they kind of played a little bit together. So we all kind of know each other for the most part. But I went out there and then I met Pete. And it was like, that opened me up to, because Pete had introduced me to Sean Lane. He introduced, I think it was also the same year that he introduced me to Peter. You can correct me if you remember. That was also the year that you introduced you knew Dweezil too, I believe. So yeah, Pete kind of knew everybody. And then the year after, I didn't really have too much time to hang the next two times I went out, because that was when I was product specialist for Sony, when they were making their little guitar effects run that they did for the 2 years. So I was kind of bummed in a way, because like I would see everybody walking by you know, they'd stop by and hang out for like, you know, like a half hour or something. And I'd be like, they're all going like, oh yeah, we're gonna go see Marty Friedman now. He's over at this booth. And I'm like, oh, I want to go see Marty Friedman, you know. But it was cool. Like I really enjoyed playing for a brand, and kind of I learned a lot about sales and um, being in the business at that point. But it's more fun going to NAMM with no like tether. You know
Right,
what I
right,
mean?
right.
Like there's just you just go and hang out, and then by the time, you know, like I was doing these demos for Sony, I was doing them every half an hour pretty much, and by the end of the day, I didn't want to go out because I was so tired
Right.
of talking that like
You tired of
I just
talking? Get out of here.
well, dude, you are gonna say that about me?
That's why I'm saying
You can't.
it.
Yeah, please. I am not the talker in this group, man. You are Mr. Talkie Talkie. But no, it going doing that stuff was so much fun. But yeah, when you're out there, it's really cool because you know you do meet people. There's another guy that I met that I don't know if Pete knows. Maybe he knows him. Uh, there's this guy named John Sanders, and he was from San Francisco. And this dude was absolutely batshit crazy, but he was a great guitar player. I still talk to him every now and then, but he lives in Australia. Um, and he's another guy that kind of knows everybody. And that guy can smoke. He's a crazy good player. But, you know, going out to NAMM in the mid 90s was a lot of fun because, you know, Pete definitely was a fun dude to hang out with.
Yeah, it's a shame that NAMM is so different from what it used to be. It's still fun, still enjoyable, but I mean, especially when the big players are gone, like Ibanez and Fender and all those guys don't have the big upstairs, and the noise thing, the noise police have gotten out of hand. They literally, I mean, like this year, I'm sure everybody saw the video of who was it? Was it Blue Saraceno
Oh,
and somebody else that got shot?
no.
Paul
It
Gilbert,
was Phil X
Bill
and Billy
X,
Sheehan, I think.
and Billy Sheehan, right? They got shut down quick. They played one tune, they got the warning. They played another tune, they got booted, and it was
I
like,
mean, that's embarrassing. It's
yeah, no,
embarrassing. It's like
yeah, you got to give passes to some of these guys. I mean, again, if it was just a YouTuber playing at a booth or whatever, I get it. You're talking about guys that are holding up this whole guitar market, you know, and have been for decades.
I mean, Billy Sheehan. How many bases has Billy Sheehan sold? Just you know, that's I mean that's the whole premise of the NAMM show is for like those people to see those guys in the, you know, press the flesh, get a signature, get a picture, and you know order 5 bases for the store. You know what I mean? But it's all different. You know, it's totally a different time and. But at the same time, you know, it's weird, man. Like every time I go out and I run into like a, you know, a younger person and so here's an interesting thing. I was on Instagram the other day. I didn't tell you this. This is really cool. And
Guys always
I
holding
posted
shit from me.
Yeah, well, this is it's interesting. And I get private message. I posted something, and then I find out that this young guy is watching our podcast, lives in the same town as me, and I'm like, what are the chances of that? So yeah, it's interesting. Like you don't know the reach or like how small the world is, but I you know I kind of got the vibe from when. You know, when you and I were hanging out that time in Sam Ash, when we had that kid Jared, and then you know our buddy that's on every week, our friend that is over at Guitar Center teaching, you know, and they're all younger cats in their 20s. I kind of almost feel like you know we're basically them, but like 30 years older. But you know, we're kind of bringing the news in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're kind of sharing what that whole vibe was like, and but at the same time I feel like we're grounded in now. I mean, I'm totally open to new stuff and totally into hearing new players. I have a few that I like, but I think for the most part, you know, now when we're, especially like when I talk to younger players and it's like, they're like, "Oh, dude, man, it must have been a great time." I'm like, "Yeah, it fucking
Oh,
was.
dude, it was
a
brilliant.
great
I mean,
experience."
even going. So we'll transition for a moment into some record stuff. I went to a record store today, and I had a buddy that. There's too much of the story. I don't want to get too out of hand. Anyway, there's a place. There's a club, a tennis club that was you had to be on a wait list to get invited to join, and I've been thinking of joining a gym, and that's $25-$50 a month, whatever it is, if you get a good gym or one that you can use multiples, and you get a pool or a spa or whatever. So this is only $100 a month, and it's you get all these tennis courts, like pro level tennis courts, like really like stadium seated. What's that?
You're paying. Wait a minute.
No. Let me get to it first, dude. I haven't gotten
No. I gotta stop this. You're paying $100 a month for a fucking gym?
No. It's like 20 tennis courts that you can reserve, which tennis courts out here, I don't know about. Back east, it's not, because you could go to high school usually and just go to a tennis court. Here, you have to actually, space is so limited in Los Angeles that you have to get a tennis court. Now, I have a few people that have a house, these exceptional people that we play on Tuesday. They have a tennis court at their house.
Well, that makes sense.
So here, if you go to a facility, a park where there's 10 tennis courts, you're going to stand around for an hour. And so anyway, long story short, but also the cool thing about this is it has a big like indoor outdoor gym. It's like there's the outdoor part, then there's 2 sections of indoor. They have classes you could go to. They've got an Olympic sized pool with like 12 lanes that it's heated to 82 degrees all year round. So you get all these benefits. So I'm like, if I'm going to pay for a gym for $40 a month or whatever it is, right? I might as well do this. I get the tennis court, I get the whatever. Anyway. So, and it's such a long waiting list to get on. So now I'm like, so we go out there to check it out because I'm telling my friend, because we could sign up as partners or whatever to, yeah, I know it's funny, but I don't think they mean it that way. Like there's families, partners, this and that. It's because I even said, I said, what if I break up with my partner? And they said, oh, well, they can't join back, but you can, add somebody if you're the main person. Why is my phone? Okay. Anyway, long story short, nobody needs to hear any of this. But the reason why I went out there was to see this. Plus, there's this pub, this Irish pub that's down the street that has my Kilkenny beer, which is a town over from Dublin that I'm so fascinated. And they have the best pour off tap of Guinness that I've ever had, and I've been searching for that for a long time. So he's into that. He's the one who introduced me to Guinness. So we go out there just for those 2 things. But as we're going, this is his hometown. It's about 20 minutes away or so. And this is his hood where he used to grow up. And he's like, man, he's so into records now, just like you. And he's like, there's 4 record stores out there, 3 mom and pops, 1 a little bigger, not like Amoeba, but a little bigger or whatever. And he's like, we're going to stop there too. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to take all day. I got a podcast and I got work to do. And I'm pushing all. That's why I was late today and blah, blah. Anyway, we go into the record store and I wasn't really going to get anything. I was like, I like the record concept and the vinyl stuff. I just don't know enough about it. And I'm not going to pay premium prices for collectibles because I don't care if it has a promo sticker on it. Or, I mean, I do. That's fun, especially when it's a nostalgic record back in the day. And I remember the packaging. But I just don't need it. I just got to make sure it sounds good if I'm going to get 1 or 2. So I end up going there, and then listen, I hate all of you. I hate you, Steve, and I hate my buddy Mark. I worked all day just to pay for these records.
Right.
So these are the records that I end up getting. Let's see what I got. We'll go through it pretty quickly because if anybody's interested in this record stuff, let us know. If you're not, let us know too, and we'll never do this again.
Yeah, we'll never talk about records again. But I love records. So this is me. This is my nerd segment.
Okay, so the first 2 freebies I got because I told the guy, I said, listen, this is my first time getting records. You got to cut me a beginner's deal and make me want to come back and do this. So the first one he does, actually, I may not show this because in fact, 2 of them I can't show. One I want to show so bad, but I may be giving it to somebody who might watch. as a gift.
You're gonna re-gift it, you son of a bitch.
No. But one of them's one I want to keep, and it was probably the highest priced one that I bought. So I'll show you, Steve. It's really good. It's from the oh shit! I just dropped it. The one is kind of a goofy one that the person's gonna like. The other one is very rare, 1948 original 10-inch first pressing of something. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'll tell you offline. Anyway, so the other one was the freebie. That's goofy. I got the Toto Hydra for $9. You know, whatever. I thought that some of that stuff on that album I kind of liked, and for $9 I'm like, all right, that's worth it.
It's a good record. That's a fair price.
Yeah,
that's like a $5 to $10 record.
Yep. So this one's probably overpriced, but I just liked it and I want to listen to it this weekend. But it's sealed rare. It says rare sealed original. It's the Sinatra Trilogy record. So it's I don't know if you could see that or whatever, but it's sealed. I haven't even opened it up, and that was like $40 or whatever. I think it goes for around that price. It's nothing, you know, because what is that, a reprint, the trilogy thing? Yeah. It's just 3 records. Then I got this one probably was not worth the price at all, because this is a newer one. It's a 2 LP. It's Sinatra's Ultimate Christmas. Again, probably worth maybe $20 or something like that. But still excited because I want to get my Sinatra and drinking on. Then this is the more guitar stuff. So we got the Van Halen with the promo sticker. It's the Diver Down. And that was, and it's in really good shape, and it was $24. Again, probably Steve would tell me I could have found that for you for 15.
Yeah, no. You know what keeps the value? You know what the only thing that's keeping the value on that is?
What's that?
It's the sticker.
Oh, okay.
The promo sticker.
Right. Yeah. So
because I have like a couple of those Diver Down, and I got rid of them because I got the box set. Not my wife.
Oh, right.
So I was just like, I don't need like 3 of the same pressing.
Yeah.
The sticker, you know, the promo sticker is worth more than the record,
right?
Because that is part of the whole thing. It's weird when it has the call out sticker on it. It raises the value, which is which is weird. But no, that's a cool. I you know, it's funny. Everybody clowns on Diver Down, but I freaking love.
No, I did too. There were when I looked on the back, I forgot what they. It has Pretty Woman, which I'm like, nah, whatever. And then then I'm just like, where have all the good times gone? But Little Guitars, Hang 'em High.
Come on, Cathedral.
Yeah, Full Bug, even that most people didn't dig, but I love that. No. You know, so I was like, for whatever. That to me, that's cool enough. This other one, this is the one that I don't care that I overpaid probably, and I probably don't need. I'm not collecting here, but this is kind of, to me, so nostalgic, because this was the first concert I ever went to. My brother brought me. I was too young. He brought me and my best friend, this girl Renee, and we had never gone to a concert. She was a year older. My brother's 3 years older than me, and he had already done 2 summers of a lot of concerts, like Jersey concerts at Brendan Byrne Arena, at the Garden, in Middletown, New York. There's a racetrack up there that is outdoor. Yeah. So that
spot was great.
Oh, dude, I saw Whitesnake there. I saw Van Halen twice there. It was amazing.
Tesla.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw Tesla there. The Black Rose.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of people went there. It was so awesome. And the so this concert he brought us to was at the Garden, and he and his friend John Paul get there, and they're sitting down, and the first opening band comes or whatever, and then the headliner comes up. And we're so excited, and we're going crazy, me and Renee, and we look over, and my brother and John Paul are sitting there going. They literally fell asleep through 90% of the show. I was like, what is going on? Do you see how cool this is? And it was basically Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet. And
oh, wow. Okay.
So this one has the hype sticker on it. And for me, again, if I'm going to collect any of that, I remember seeing that big yellow sticker on there. And I was like, okay, this is worth it. So this is $38. It was, again, I think you can get this for 10, 15, whatever, but I don't know.
The sticker, I actually have that. But I have the picture disc of that.
Oh, interesting.
Which you know, I had. It's funny because Kevin said the Ozzy picture disc. I had a bunch of picture discs. I had all the Maiden. Remember, like Maiden had all the.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I had, you know, but what was funny was that like they were like crappy sounding compared to the actual.
That's what they said. When you put the picture on there, it takes away from the tone.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where like, you know, I had them, but I just wanted them because I had the 2 minutes
dude, I would want the Iron Maiden ones for sure. Judas Priest, Iron Maiden back in the day, the album covers, the picture.
I had all that stuff, you know, but when I got back into it, I only had like a handful of vinyl from what was left in my mom's house. So I had to rebuild my collection. And, you know, when I started rebuilding,
you went overboard.
No, not really.
Come on, give me a number. You said how many? 3, 6, 5, 2?
No, I got 700.
Yeah, no. Right. I didn't even get that high in my estimation.
Yeah, no, trust me, dude. I know people that like my collection is infantile.
Well, yeah, but
I went for basically this. I wanted to collect all the guitar stuff. Like I wanted to collect as much shrapnel. I wanted to collect as much rock stuff from like the 80s. Unfortunately, all the vinyl, you know, because vinyl started to die in the 90s, that stuff is way, way, way more expensive than the stuff from the 80s. So there, you know, and a lot of stuff isn't even pressed. So, you know, like,
and somebody was telling me about, or Mark was telling me about the pressing, that some of these Japan tends to make better pressings because a lot of other countries, that when they trim off the pressing, they reuse that. And a lot of times if they have a bad pressing and even the sticker in the middle is there, they'll melt that down and the sticker will be in there. So when they repress, some of that material's in there. Whereas Japan does, they don't do that. They don't reuse any of the extra pressing.
Right. It's possible. I don't know specifically on that, but you know, there's definite list of pressing houses when you get into vinyl where you go like, oh man, I don't want it. So now, unfortunately, and I don't really, you know, my day gig, I work with a lot of pressing plants. So I kind of know who they all are and, you know, who the good ones are. And but there's one huge pressing plant, and it's in the Czech Republic. They press like 90% of all the stuff, like 80% of all the vinyl is pressed by this one plant. And some of it can be good, but a lot of it too can be bad. So like if you go on Reddit forums and you're into vinyl, you'll see like, oh, GZ, you know, it's a GZ pressing, and people be like, oh, avoid.
Right.
You know, so there is that, but you know, the general rule of thumb for me was I just wanted to collect all the jazz stuff that like I was getting into. And the cool thing about the jazz vinyl, and like you'll see with the Sinatra stuff, dude, when you put the Sinatra stuff on your turntable, you're gonna be like, holy crap, this just sounds really
So
really
my
good.
brother got out here at the Rose Bowl, probably, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or so. Once you go into the Rose Bowl, so if nobody knows, there's this stadium, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. It's a football stadium. It's old. It's got columns. It's, you know, it's whatever, but it's very famous. And they also have a once a month flea market there, which is not a normal. It's huge. It goes around the whole outside of the Rose Bowl, but then there's in the parking lot, there's all these things, and there's aisles back and forth. And then if you go over a little bridge, there's all this clothing, vintage clothing that is just as big as the first part. I mean, it's just massive, and they have really great stuff. And so there's one guy that's always selling old record players, those stereo, what are they? Stereographic or something, or a stereoscope, you know, with the big horns, the big.
Gramophone.
Okay, so they and these aren't. Some of them are redos, kind of, you know, more modern things, but most of them are the finds that he finds, and they're all from the early 1900s. I mean, they're the real deal. Some of them have replaced horns. But if you can get a full complete one, and so he had a couple that one my brother really wanted, and he had just gotten into it back in the day. He's into the classic Sinatra and all the the Italian cooking with the good music going on and whatever. And so that place, I guess, is based out of either upstate New York or Pennsylvania. I know it's about 4 hours away though. So he was staying in contact with them. He didn't end up buying the one out here, but he found one that they had, and he drove all the way out there, had conversations with them, and he ended up buying it. And it's got this huge, and it sounds so good. It sounds amazing. But the problem with those is they need special needles. There's all maintenance that you have to do to it and everything. And but it's so classy, dude. And when you, like you said, when you hear Sinatra or the Rat Pack, Dean and those guys, and he has some jazz stuff, some Coltrane, and you're just like, oh my God, dude.
You put like these, you put all the Blue Note, all the Verve pressings, you put all that stuff on there. And that's really like the purest like sound that you could get back then. Like that 50s Blue Note, those you can't find one for like under $100. They're like 300, 500 bucks. And I have a couple of them, but like they're beat up, but I put them on my turntable, and they still go for $30, or like they're still very expensive for my for what I pay.
As you say this, and I look at all these, and they're all $30. I'm like, I got ripped off.
Well, but I have like this one Horace Silver vinyl, and it's live. And you look at the record and you go like, this is never going to play. Like you literally look at it and you're like, this is never going to play. This record's trash. You put it on and you're like looking at it going, holy shit. Like, because, also the record like itself is so much thicker. I mean, like they have the 180 gram vinyl. This stuff makes the 180. Like when you look at the, the vinyl from the 50s, it's so thick. So I would say, even if you don't like jazz, it's just a great listening experience. And it's also a great way to kind of set your turntable up, because that's going to be the most purest sound that you're going to get out of it. So, again, my turntable is super basic. I literally bought mine's Audio Technica, and it's basically like $500. It's not an expensive one. I have like $150 speakers, and again, I don't care. You know what I mean? It sounds good when I'm downstairs or upstairs, and
And when you say you have speakers, you have just 2 floor speakers, or what do you have?
No, I have 2 little, like literally the subwoofer is like literally this big. They're small.
Funny.
They're like literally this big.
All right.
But they sound great.
Would you ever get like those big, how they're about 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall, and they're big boxes? Are those vintagey kind of speakers back in the day that everybody used to have? Are those any good or no?
They sound great. I mean, like, I've won my friend Mike that passed away had an incredible stereo. It was from like the 60s with the receiver. He had like servo driven speakers. I mean, like it was an insane stereo. And he'd come over here and be like, yeah, dude, this sounds great.
Nice.
It's just
nice.
Like, so it again, man, it's just like I live in 1,000 square foot. I have an 1,100 square foot townhouse that's multi-floor. So, I mean, I can't really crank stuff too loud anyway, but I for what I wanted, it's perfect. And the next one, maybe down the road, I will get a nicer turntable. But it's fun, man. I would say like the best place for you to get vinyl is, like look on like Craigslist for like flea markets, like little corner, like little church flea markets. Somebody will bring a collection. I have a funny story, and then we'll move on. But this was like, maybe it was last year, and there's a flea market in town that shows up every couple of months, and it was really cold. That's also when you get great deals, because people don't want to be out there and they're willing to sell you everything. So it was a little late in the day. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock, and everybody was starting to pack up. And this lady was packing up, and I'm like, oh, what do you got? You know, is that vinyl? And she's like, yeah. She's like, but I'm done. I'm going. So like, I go, can I just see what you have? So she pulls out a Lou Donaldson record. I don't know if you know who Lou Donaldson is. He's a jazz sax player, and it's a blue note. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that thing is easily worth like $25 easily. I'm like looking at it. And she's like, yeah, she goes, I'll sell you the box if you want it. And I'm like, oh, you know, what are you going to say? Like $200? She goes, give me $25 for the box. And I'm like, done. And I didn't even like know what else was in there.
Right.
So I was just like if the Lou Donaldson was the only one. So then she gives me the box. I give her the money. The second record I pull is Jimmy Smith record. The third record I pull is an Alice Coltrane, John Coltrane's wife. The fourth record, I remember this because I was just like, holy shit. I like literally was pulled a miles out of it. And they were, you know, like other than, the other thing was like the covers were a little dirty. So I have clean the formula. I had a formula to clean the covers up. I brought them to a guy that I know that has a record store. And I was like, dude, I go, look at this box. And we were just like, he's like, how much you get this for? I'm like, I was like $25. He's like, dude, you stole these records. I was like, you know, so yeah. I kind of magooed myself into like certain situations with that, but flea markets are a really good place. The only other problem though with flea markets is you get the other guys that either buy for like eBay or for discount. So you're competing against that. But you know, estate sales, it's the same thing with buying guitars. You know what I mean? You do that, and occasionally, you know, if you bring cash.
The biggest thing is just not being in a rush with anything. This stuff's not, you know, even the hard to find stuff, right? I'm sure with the Samick guitar, right? I mean, it took me 2 decades to find one because every time I found one, I was like, either wasn't in the position to buy it or I just didn't want to or whatever. And then all of a sudden it'd be gone. And I was like, I missed that again, whatever. And so, and they just, but eventually they come up. Eventually, you know, if you're in the right place, right time, you have the funds, you're in a position where you don't feel like it's wasting money. Because at the end of the day, you get to enjoy this for 30, 40 years, then it goes to somebody else, right? I mean, because we're not taking it with us. And so for me, just buying these things that were nostalgic, let me get to the last 3 I have. This again, I had a girlfriend at the time, and she introduced me to this record, and I didn't know who it was. I was just getting into guitar, and she was into Yngwie Malmsteen. She introduced me to. I want to find that trilogy record. There was the trilogy record, and there was something else Malmsteen early on. Into Rising the Sun Force? Or something. Oh, Rising Force. Yeah. Yep. And so anyway,
there's Marching Out. There's Marching Out, Rising Force, trilogy, then Odyssey, and then after that was I can't remember.
Which I really liked Odyssey. It was a little more poppy, and there was something about it that his tone changed a little. So anyway, this is the Dokken, the Back for the Attack. Yeah, I remember when that came out. I was like, between this and that live one, Beast from the East, those two I listened to for probably a year each straight. And this one, you know, it's got the original press with insert whatever for $28. It's whatever. It was just nostalgic. Yeah.
No, that's worth it, and that's a great to me.
Oh, like, dude,
so there's a Dokken box set which I have, and I just went back and I listened to the 4 Dokken records, and I was like, that by far is the best one out of them all.
Oh, dude, I mean, look at this: Kiss of Death, Heaven Sent, Heart. Mr. Scary, Burning Like a Flame, Sleepless Nights, Dream Warriors. You don't get better than that. He was at the top of his game with that, dude.
Yeah, that record is, you know, and then you have the live record, and then you get the Walk Away, which is the bonus track on it, which Lynch, man.
So then I got the Van Halen 2. You know, this is 180 gram. I mean, I think this is a repressing, of course, but it's in great shape. It is whatever for $25 again. Probably could have found this but I was there and I was like, you know what? It's clean. I want it. Whatever. I don't want to go hunting. And then the last one, which is the one that really I was like, I don't care what they're, I'm sure I could find it anywhere. It's probably nothing special. In fact, I know it's nothing special. But to me, when this band came out, I literally, it was the one thing I kept going, please MTV, play that song again. Please MTV, every day, all throughout the day. I just wanted to see them because they were the perfect mix of guitar technique and hair moving all over the place, and the look that they had was amazing, and their tunes for me were great. Can you think who it is? It's a hero band. It's a we all got together and turned into something band.
I don't know, man.
Okay. Mr. Big. So when that top hat with that top hat, and when that Addicted to That Rush came out with that bass in the very beginning intro, and this to me is just, and even on here on these podcasts, how many times do I play Wind Me Up or anything Addicted to That Rush, the tapping stuff, the solo. I love this. This is amazing. And it wasn't, again, $35. I could have probably gotten it for 20 or something like that. But I was just like,
well, so here's a funny story, dude. And you're going to be mad at me, I think, but at
always
Christmas
mad at
time,
you.
Yeah, I know. At Christmas time, I had an extra copy of the repress.
So our podcast's over. I'll see you all next week.
And I was like, I don't know if Dave's going to want this because I don't even know if he has a turntable. So I was going to give you that.
Oh, dude. Well, I appreciate the thought. That was generous of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is one that just, I'm so happy because it's in really good. It's an original, which again, I don't really care that much of, but it's in great condition. The edges have a little bit of wear, but I don't even care about that because I was telling my buddy, like, I just want it to sound good. And I do love that original artwork, and and knowing it comes from then makes me feel good when I pick it up. But realistically, once I take it out of the sleeve and I throw it on the record player, as long as it sounds good, I don't care what the packaging is because I'm not. It just is what it is. So that was my fun little haul today.
Like,
yeah.
So is that your first set of vinyl? Like, since
the only other one I have. So you talk for a second. I got one thing that.
I'm curious to see what he's got in his collection here. So let's see. It's just a rabbit hole. Like, when you start buying the vinyl, man, it just you open up a Pandora's box.
So this almost started it for me about a couple of years ago or whatever. And it's not a big deal. It's really not. But it was, for me, not knowing anything about records when it came out, and it's just a re-release or whatever. But it was when they made a big hype out of it. And this was again, almost like that Mr. Big thing. This was a huge thing to me when it happened. It's the Van Halen live right here, right now, but it's the one that has the pink or red, whatever. That was supposedly some special thing they put out at that time or whatever. And yeah, dude, when I bought this, I was like, it has all the, it's got 4 different pages, 4 different records. It's got all the artwork. I was like, this is awesome, dude. It was awesome. And it sounds great. I mean, I don't know if the pressing's really review-wise that great or anything.
The thing too is like when you have the record and you're like, because I listen to usually like in the mornings when we get up and I make breakfast, I'll put jazz on. In the afternoon, I'll switch to rock. But there's something about just not doing anything else but listening intently, and you go through the vinyl. So it's funny because my gateway back into vinyl, Nairi, my wife, had brought home the Rat box set because my wife works for the record company, and so one of the record companies that she works with is Rhino, and Rhino has all the great reissues and stuff. So she was like, "Oh, do you want this Rat box set?" I'm like, absolutely do I want this Rat box set. And I didn't even have a turntable for like 5 months, and I was just like going out and buying vinyl. I was just like, oh
that's
God,
funny.
Oh yeah. So this was back in probably 2023, I think, was when I started buying vinyl again. And then I got a turntable. That was my Christmas present that year. And so it's been just, I've really slowed down. Like, I think I maybe this, since the new year, I think I've probably bought like 2 or 3 records. So I think the guy at the record store that I know probably hates me because I haven't been in there spending money and stuff. But
that's what I like too. Like my buddy goes into this store and in these 3 stores, and one kid's a younger kid, probably, I don't know, in his I don't know, he's got to be 30 or something like that, so early, maybe late 20s, and it's literally the size of somebody's, if they have a bigger living room. That's all it is. And it's literally a center aisle with a whole bunch of stuff and then 2 walls, and that's it. And then the other place is a little bit bigger, but both of them are very he knows the guys, and he's been in there a bunch. Hey, Steve, it feels like a community. Like it's got that vibe, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing, man. And so you get into it and you enjoy it and you listen to it and you reconnect. And so, like, for me, the only thing that I really have at this point that I don't have that I want to get is I want to get the second Badlands record, which is way out of print, with Jake E. Lee, and then the Eric Johnson, not Tones, the one after that, Musicom. Yeah, I want that on vinyl. I have all, like, Jam, I have Venus Isle, I have all, I have those records on vinyl. I have one of his live. I don't have a Via Musicom, and like I can't find it for like anywhere for less than $100, and I never see it local. So that's really all I want. And then, if there's some jazz record that comes up and I see it and it's cheap, I'll buy it, and then I'll either resell it if I don't like it. But I'll buy it because I've been turned on to so much stuff where I put it on, I'm like, oh wow, I kind of like this. And that's it's more captive, where like as if you just put on YouTube and you listen to music, I don't know, you don't listen the same way. It's cool. Vinyl's just fun, man.
And it's one, like you said, it's one of those things that it sets a mood. It sets hearing those little crackles and all this, it just in the space in between the songs, hearing the hiss and the noise or whatever. It's, I go on YouTube and I don't think I've in the longest time ever listened to anything straight through, like song after song. It's this song, then I go to a different band, and it's this and that, or I'm clicking and whatever. Or whereas that's how we listened to music when we were kids.
Yeah. And I think too, like what I like doing with listening to vinyl is like, then I'll sit down and then I'll go on Google and, I'll look up the record and I'll look to see who engineered it. And I'll look, and then I get into all the nerd part of it. But that's kind of what we did when we were younger, but that was just based on the liner notes. So it's a fun hobby, dude. Yep. You know what I mean? But very enjoyable. Loving the collection.
I just don't want to get too deep into it again. After buying pedals, buying a guitar here and there, I'm just like, man, I gotta stop. I gotta stop, man. but it was fun. It was enjoyable. I had a good time with my buddy, and it's gonna be fun tonight listening to this stuff. So let me get on to real quick showing a guitar thing or something. If anybody's interested, I'm going to show this this thing last week that I was going to show of Bumblefoot. To me, and I haven't played, so excuse that. This is...
Well, you better play good, because I'm going to send this to Bumblefoot.
Please do not. He's going to think I'm one of those fake YouTube guys that was somebody was talking. I think it was that Cordy guy was talking about faking a guitar part, because I guess he was asked to record something and he couldn't work out this one part, or he was piecing it together in one part. He really didn't get up to tempo, but he's like, you know what, let me try something. And he played it at like a little slower speed just to see, and sped it up or whatever. And he said he could hear that digital sound, that thing that happens. He said, but he's like, it's crazy. It's like some of these people that are faking stuff, you can so blatantly hear the tonal difference when you speed it up. From if they're going from 50% or 30% to 100%, it changes completely. Yeah. But if you're going from 70 to 100, you almost can't hear it, and it's you do, but so it was a cool, funny little experiment that he was
what? If you can't play it at 100, then play it where you can play it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there was, like, I've learned solos where I'm just like, Bark at the Moon, that final run. Like, I remember.
Oh yeah.
Like, yep. I'm like, I can't play that. I can't physically play that at that speed. I learned it like instead of it being 100, I learned it at 95. And you know what? The chips like.
But some of these YouTubers, I don't know if you've seen the video. Some of these guys are saying basically this is what they are. They're getting huge followings being these players, and they're not even playing it. Then when you see them play live, they're, you know.
Yeah, they can't play.
Right, yep.
Like, anyway, do your thing. Teach.
Okay,
Let's
so
go.
this Bumblefoot thing, I got 3 things I want to show. The first one, actually, let me get this out of the way. So I keep pushing Bumblefoot further and further down the path. Right. So the first thing is, since I put the thumbnail of Guthrie Govan on there, I used to do a lot of Jam Track Central stuff. I love their especially the early Guthrie things. In fact, I did a lesson package with Jam Track Central where I literally took 10 of his lesson packages, and I broke down maybe 20 tunes. Not the tunes, because they were already tabbed out, but nobody taught them, right? Guthrie just played through them and you get the tab. So what we did is I have a lesson package where it's a compilation of 20 of the really cool licks, and most of them are really long, like, 8 measure licks. They're not just, a lick that's 1 bar or 16th notes.
Okay.
And there's a lot of chromaticism in there. There's a lot of just really cool techniques that he used. And I was so deep in the Guthrie realm during that time.
Were you teaching those lines? And
so I teach the lines. Yep. So basically, cool. you hear
I've never seen that, dude.
Yeah. I'll send it. I think I have a copy of it. And it's basically so we go over, we break down what's happening. This is a blues scale. This is chromatic notes. This is going into this arpeggio. This is why this works. This is the cool part of it. Out of all this is the one bend here that really, it's a huge bend, and then he slides. He used to do a lot of things where let me see. Are here you hear that?
I hear it. So how's it sound in the audience?
Yeah, let me know, because I probably usually have to turn off this mic, because I think the mic's going to pick up some of the guitar in the room too, and whatever. So but he would do these bends where he would do over bend. Even if he did a whole step bend, and then he would slide instead of bending down and then sliding down. He would do. So he would slide the bend. He would bend up a whole step, like say from the 9th fret to the 11th fret on the G string. Bend up a whole step. And then you slide down while holding that bend. And then you bend down when you reach your target note. So usually you get that bend before, and it's just a slide too. This is that hold it, and then you get a slide after when you actually land. It's really...
So you're holding the bend
throughout the slide. So you bend up a whole step.
So it's right. I got that whole step.
Then hold it and slide with that string bent up.
And where do you go to?
You can go to any note you want. So if you're on that, slide down to the 5th fret if you want. Nope, you're releasing the bend like around the 7th fret there.
Wow, that's hard, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that?
And that, yes. So by the time you get to the 5th fret, you're really bending up to the 7th fret, right?
7th fret. Okay. So
yeah.
you're
So you exactly. Right? Yep. So yeah. So then he would do these double bends. And you'd have that big, you're holding a 2-step bend and you're sliding down. But he would do this so quickly within a 16th note melody, then he'd have that bend and slide down, then he'd go back into 16th notes. And those were the things to me that were fascinating. That's why that lesson package was so fun, because it was the little intricacies. Most people are picking up the arpeggio licks.
How would you like in tab, like, or how would you notate?
So you would notate the 9th fret, bend up a whole step, and then you'd put a marker that says hold bend, and then you'd do this, and then you'd have a pre-bend there at that note, and then you'd bend down. So you'd see in the transcription, you'd see no extra attack. You're not hitting any notes. You're just hitting the first note, and it's traveling down and doing a release from a pre-bend.
But he's doing that like it's nothing.
Always like nothing. In fact, he'll do it on these higher strings too. He'll do it on the A string, a thicker string, and he'll bend up 2 frets. Like it's just this crazy thing, and he does it so smooth and quick It's awesome. But that's the thing. Those little techniques, out of everything that most people would learn on those Guthrie Jam Track Central things, were even just the licks, the fast picking licks, the legato, the hammer-ons, the arpeggios. But it's those little subtleties that he did, and I'm going to show one here that's really interesting. So let me actually go to doing the wrong screen share. This whole to my screen. So again, that's bending up, say, a whole step on the 9th fret to the 11th. And then instead of bending down while you slide and get into this, you go, and it's hard. And a lot of times you want to overbend when you start that slide because you want to hold and keep it. So it's really, really an extremely hard technique. And now if you get like a low string, like an A, and you're trying to bend up, say you're trying to bend up from the 9th fret to the 12th fret. That's like a step and a half. And then you get down, say, to the 3rd fret. But if you're bending that down, you're pulling down on that string, not up, of course, because you can't go up a step and a half on a bend on the A string. It'll slip off the fretboard, right? So you have this bend down a whole step and a half. And then you drop it. It's crazy, but it makes such a different sound than just regular sliding if you release it. It's beautiful. So in this other thing that he does that I've been working on all week, basically, is this thing called is it Persuade? I gotta find. All right, I have to find it because I can't do this without saying what it is.
You need to let everybody know what you're teaching. It's preparation that we have here. It's togetherness. Dave's all, we had
a theme song. Steve did have a theme song, but we didn't play it.
Oh, yeah,
here it comes.
I do.
All right. Well, we'll have another moment for it for sure. So this is called the Prowling Blues, right? And the rhythm part is really simple. The whole tune is really simple. So it's all just an E, then it goes to a C major 7 chord, to an A minor 7 chord, back to the... And the solo part is... something like that, whatever. But the beginning part, there's 3 things in there that I found that are, it's that, first of all, his tone is awesome, which, I don't know if this is translating. It sounds great in the room, but let me play it. Well, I was going to turn off my mic because I think the mic picks up some of this and then compresses the guitar part. In fact, I'm going to do one quick experiment. Here's without the... So that's with the mic off. I'll check later to see if this actually works. So the cool things in there are when he goes up that arpeggio, again, it's all over E. Probably a little out of tune, but I'm dealing with it. So he does this thing where he goes up arpeggios. So that's like a D major arpeggio going from the 5th fret on the A string to the 4th fret and the 7th fret on the D string. Then he walks down to a target note, which is the 5th fret on the D string, but he does chromatic, so it's... right? So it's... Then he does another arpeggio. He goes down this arpeggio, which looks like an A arpeggio from the 5th fret on the B string, 6th fret, 7th fret on the next string. So you have... So yeah, and then you have G, 4th fret to 7th fret on the a G string. Then he goes down that arpeggio. So... Then he targets that 4th fret on the G string. So... Slides into that note. Then he just goes down another arpeggio, which is an E minor arpeggio. So the 4th fret on the G string, 5th on the D, 7th on the A. So if you notice what he's doing, he's going... Targets that note with an arpeggio preceding, starting. Does an arpeggio, targets that note, targets that note. Down an arpeggio, 3 notes, targets 1, 2, 3. Then he just goes up chromatic. Then he does a little bluesy kind of thing. But the cool part about that is, that looks like, to me, you're dealing with a D arpeggio, then an A arpeggio, then an E minor arpeggio. And this is all over E, right? So now you can also sort of analyze that in over E instead of thinking of it broken. So that first arpeggio, he's landing on the minor 3rd of E. Even that note he slides into is a major 6th of E. When he gets to that note there, that's the 5th of E, right? Then that's the 9th of E. And each one of the phrasing's different too. It's not just... Right? It's... So it's got all the elements of targeting notes, just surrounding some arpeggios. So that's almost like taking just your full scale, right?
Right.
And you're just breaking it up into little arpeggios, but it's not what most people would do, where they'll break it up into arpeggios, and now you're either sweep picking an arpeggio, doing a string skipping thing, or you're just incorporating an arpeggio in between a phrase. This is actually the main driver of this is targeting those notes of the chord. That's why it sounds so great over there. It's not just random arpeggios and scales, right? Now, the other part of this that was so cool to me is he does these little things where he moves his fingers in weird ways, and something I never would have done. So he gets back to this phrase. Now, that phrase right there, what's so cool to me is I would have normally done, it's basically playing off that E minor pentatonic to the 4th, the 4th to the flat 5. All right, it's very, very typical blues phrase. But what he does is, if I were to repeat that phrase twice, I would most people would either hammer on, it's basically the 8th fret all on the B string, 8, 10, 11, back down, and then you're going back down to that root note, sorry about that, but going down to the root note of the G string. So B string is 8, 10, 11, and then you have the E note on the 9th fret of that string. So, and you're starting on the 10th fret though. So it's 10, 11, 10, 8. So, and then you target that the 4th basically, which is the A note on the B string. So, if you were just to repeat that, you would probably slide up and down, or you'd hammer on all, right?
So what's he do?
So what he does, he slides, then he takes that first finger and slides up to the 10th fret, hammers on, pulls off, and then slides back down. So you get a slick slide in there. So the first one is a slide with the third finger, 10, 11, 10. Then you take your first finger, slide up to 10, hammer on, pull off, and slide that back down to 8. So you have...
Cool.
It's slick, and what it does is it takes a phrase that's repeated. It's like a vocalist, right? If a vocalist sings a melody, and then they repeat that melody, almost 99% of the time, that melody is not going to be exactly the same. There's going to be little inflections in there, and that's what makes vocals, any breath instruments, sax or horn instruments, so amazing, because there's intricacies in the littlest of things that you do. Where guitar, if I played that line 6 times in a row, it would sound almost exactly the same if I hammer on the same and pick the same. But when you start introducing a slide in one little place, that means I had a hammer on, pull off, or a slide back down. Now the slide starts the lick here. It's just, it offsets that slide, and those slurs are things that you audibly truly hear. So
yeah. Well, you know what's interesting too is that I never really did that up until in the last couple of years. Like when I was, all the pre-smart playing, like, we just muscle shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
yep.
But now, like, we're talking about, like, even last week with me learning all this Mateus Asado stuff, he does that as well, where he's doing a lot of slides. Like, even if it's the same sequence of notes, it's a different phrase because he's sliding, he'll use different fingers and it sounds different. And it's like, I'm going to go back and watch that just to learn that phrase, just so I can. Yeah.
It's a really short minute solo, and it's called Prowlin' Blues, and it's just really, but again, his tone is great. He's everything about it. He uses these 335 guitars that Jan, who owns Jam Track Central, would have in his studios, and he would. It's awesome. They're blasting. I forget what amps they used at the time, but they were they're more European Marshall-y style amps. But it just sounds great. The tone is great. It's woolly, and the phrases and just those little arpeggio things, the sequences. It's an easy solo. Now, I wouldn't say easy because it's those subtleties that make it a little more complex and difficult. But theoretically, it's just all in E. There's nothing really outside except for a few chromatic notes.
But that's what I think too, dude, like makes the solos more interesting is when you introduce that stuff. Like, because we were like that guy, I don't remember, his name, but he was some Indonesian player that you had sent me earlier. Like, I think it was like on Wednesday or Tuesday or something. And he was doing like a lot of slides, and like most of it was like the cool stuff that I was listening to was mostly like very vocal. And then he starts the, all the traditional shreddy. And I was like, oh man, that's so I'm over that.
It's that vocal stuff that I was really impressed for.
It's the vocal stuff is what kind of draws me in. And like, it's weird because that's now when I sit there and I listen to a player, I go, boy, that guy's good.
Totally.
That guy's good. And then I'm like, oh, don't.
Then he ruins it. Then they ruin it.
Why are you doing this?
So funny.
It's so funny how that happens, dude. But yeah, no, you're totally spot on. That's a great. I'm gonna really go back and watch that.
Yeah. So there's 2 other things that happen in this that are really cool, and one of them is right after that whole thing. He does that typical bend, that half-step bend. And even just walking down that, it's not a normal way of walking down. You're bending the 14th fret on the B string, and you're going to the 12th fret on the B string. Then you go 12th fret, 11th fret on the G string, and you kind of bend that up a half step. go down to 9, and you rest on that note, which is the 6th of E. And this is all E major pentatonic, basically. Then he walks up the cool... and he does that same blues thing. Something like that. I forget what exactly he does there. But that cool little walk-up thing is... and he does a chromatic. It's 9, 10 on the A string, 9, 11 on the D string, 9, 10, 11. And this is where he does that cool little thing where it's 9, 10, 11 on the G string, gets to the 10th fret on the B string. And instead of walking back down that 11, 10, 9, he does more of a scalular thing. So he goes 9, 10, 11, 10 on the next string, then he goes 12, 11, 10. So he doesn't do all 4 chromatic notes, he does more of a scalular thing, but you really get that 9, 10, 11, 12 in the whole sequence. You get 9, 10, 11, next string, 12, 11, 10. 12, 11, 9. Then you switch positions. Oh, and this is what he does all the time too. He does a unison note. So to switch positions, when he goes 12, 11, 9, he touches that D note, which is the 12th fret on the D string. And then to switch positions, he goes to the D note on the G string. So right? And he does that all the time. There's this one blues thing that he does that he goes... This is a really cool bluesy... right? And it's all... This is all B minor pentatonic. And he's switching that position when he walks down chromatically. 12, 11, 10 to 12 on the B string. Then he goes to that same note here on the E string. Like, you can just keep doing that. Switching, you introduce a note on a lower string and then switch position on the higher note. So, all chromatic. Half step slide, which is more chromatic. Then he gets that little dominant-y kind of thing. And then back down pentatonic. Dude,
that's great, dude. That's great.
He's a master at doing that, and he does it so on target rhythmically, and you just see these positions, but that unison note is something that most people don't do. When they're switching position, they're going down a scale and down a scale and down a scale. To throw in a unison note, you're pausing on that note. And you're getting a different rhythmic, even not rhythmically inflection, but you're just putting a pause there in a thing that would go, say you go 10 notes in a row and it's all da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This is da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's the same note, and you're just like, whoa. And you do that 2 or 3 times, and now it feels like it's tripping over itself.
Yeah, it's cool, dude.
It's so much fun, dude.
Wow, I'm totally into that.
So let me go into, I think that was it for that. And then let me go into the Bumblefoot thing, because if he's watching, which he's probably not, but if he is, hi, right. Bumblefoot. Hi, Ron. Hi, Ron. This is hi, Ron. This is the classical piece that I come back to all the time. And by the way, anybody who's still watching this, thank you. It does look like we have a bunch of people watching. Thank you for watching. Click like, subscribe, do all that stuff. It really helps out. Share this with others so that they can find us too. And let us know what you want to see. If you like more of this lesson stuff, if you like more of the random stuff where we're just chatting about our daily things where we waste money and buy records and join country clubs and do all this stupid stuff. And interject if you have any questions and blah, blah, blah. So This Bumblefoot thing is he would do some classical things that I always loved, especially in the bootleg videos. You see him teaching lessons, doing things where he's got the guitar on his lap and he's playing classical pieces while he's on the phone with his girlfriend or what. He is just one of the most talented guitar players, and I don't think most people are aware of the varied talent he has between understanding jazz, being able to play all these things, jazz, blues, classical, rock, all this. I mean, he's a master at guitar, not just at rock and what people, Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. So this classical piece, I'll show on my screen.
And his polyphonic stuff is just, it's inconceivable.
It's inconceivable. I don't think you know what that word really means.
It's inconceivable.
That's what was that movie?
Princess Bride.
Princess Bride. Inconceivable. You keep saying that. I don't think you. Okay, so this is just awesome. This is so fun to play. Desktop audio, and here we go. So good. so amazing, dude. I mean, it's just the technique is just ungodly smooth.
It's not in my future plans.
So here's the thing. It will be. I guarantee you'll try this out this weekend. Guaranteed. Because there's a fun smoothness to parts of this. Now the doing the stuff overhand like this, I always thought that was gimmicky. I was like, why is it just do it here or whatever? But there is, like, Van Halen would do some of these double taps here or whatever. He'd do the two notes, kind of like the Satriani thing or whatever. And I never understood. I was like, that's gimmicky. And I realized it is much easier to play like this. The way your fingers are tapping and the muscles are being used. So I assume I did learn this whole thing at once, not up to tempo, but that tapping part, again, it's not my kind of thing. So I was like, I'd play it a few times, and I was like, and it did feel better like this than it does like this. So there's a reason for it. But that being said, the coolest part to me is the beginning part, and that chromatic walk down, walking and then going back up and all chromatic notes. It's fun. It's just a flurry. But this beginning part, we'll play one more time. You know what? I had desktop audio, so I hope that wasn't too echoey. Okay, so all that part up to there, it seems like a billion notes, but it's really not that complicated. And funny enough, I just realized that this is our boy Levi Clay who transcribed this. Mm-hmm. I do have to reach out to him. I said I was going to do that last week. And
yeah.
I say a lot of things. The Patreon's going up next week, by the way.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Nobody's going to believe I do it. So this is really, it's basically, the very beginning is just on the A string, or on the D string, and it's going 6, 7, 6, 5. And then it does that thing kind of like what Guthrie does. Instead of, you're sliding up that first finger. So you go second finger, 6, 7, 6, 5, and slide up that first finger to 6. So, right? Now that puts you in position to bar the next string on the 6th fret. So, And then you're just doing a typical 9, 8, 6 pull off. Then you slide down a half step. So you have that slide up and a slide down. And then you're just hammering on. I think that's it. Let me make sure. Well, hold on. Oh, I forgot that, right. There's a hammer-on in there. So when you do 9, 8, 6, you also go 8, 6, 5, 6, 8. So and that's where you hammer on the 13th fret, right? So you put it on this pickup. And that note is really like going there. All right, so if you didn't want to do the tap, or you could play that note up here. String skip to the 4th fret. All right, so if you don't want to do the tap, which some people don't want to do, but it's just this smooth, legato-y sense of... Because there's only 2 picked notes. There's the first one, then the first one on this string. Then the next part is going up an arpeggio, 7 on the D string, and you go 7, 8, 6, 8 on the G string, 7 on the D, 6, 8, then 7 on the B string, then this 5 on the E string. So you have 1 note, 2 notes, 1 note, then you have this flurry. And it's a really long stretch. You have 5, 9, 11. And then he does some silliness where he does 2-note tap. He goes 19, 17, and then he does pull off to the 16, 14, 12, 11. So, yeah. Then he does these taps. I'm sorry. So he's just walking down. Now, if you want to see the tab, go to this thing. It's called Levi Clay did it. It's on his channel. It's Think Chopin is Difficult on piano. Chopin on guitar will blow your mind. It's me. I'll put the link in the thing or whatever. But all of that is just, it's just such an amazing, smooth, legato-y workout. Then he repeats it. Now he goes to... So here it's the same chromatic-y thing where you're doing 8, 9, 8, 7, slide up a half step to 8. Same as this, right? Then he just does a tapping thing, 12, 11, that was on the G string, 12, 11, 9, 8. A lot of diminished stuff, right? Half step, whole step, half step. Then he does 12, 11, 9, 7. So then it's a hammer on to the 11th fret, and it just does the 11, 9, 8 again. So 11, 9, 8, 11, 9. So that whole part is... just really cool, smooth, right? And then he gets to the last part is just this tapping thing where it's kind of a little off balance, where you're going 12, 3, 5, 4. Then he does 13. Then he does 13, 4, 5, 3. Something like that. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so that part gets a little weird because you roll over that 4th fret with your finger. I don't want to make this too long of a lesson. You can see the tabs or whatever. But to me, the coolest part of all that is, again, it's just this smooth liquid legato with some slides in it, and there's very little articulation to separate the legato with your pick. Right. Where a lot of people, when they're doing legato things, they'll do 3 note per string, and then they're picking that next string. But every time you go to another string, right, you're always picking and you always hear that thing. This thing is just so, even his picks, you don't really hear. They're so subtle.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful to me. Anyway, that's the guitar lesson for the day.
That was good. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, I like it, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm glad you do. If anybody else enjoyed it, please let us know and click the like, click the subscribe.
Give Dave a little love because he puts all this stuff together for us, and
thank you for Levi for checking that for transcribing that a year ago. I remember seeing that, and I always come back to that. I don't know why. I was checking out something Ron Thal the other day, and I was like, oh man, that's cool. And I go, oh man, remember that one the chromatic-y thing? And then I saw this last week, and I was like, I got to relearn this thing. So as you can see, I only relearned part of it. The cool part, the part that I liked.
Well, that's the cool part to learn then.
That is. So, that's pretty much between the records and the guitar and the whatever. Have you been working on anything this week?
I am still working on that Matthias Asado piece. I've been, so I actually have been kind of getting it up to speed, and I'm still not there. There's parts of it that I don't like. In terms of the way that I'm playing it, some parts are not, they're a little staccato and they're not supposed to be staccato. And that's just because of the way that I'm using my right hand, because it's got, he's playing all 4 fingers, but I am playing with a pick. So I'm only doing this and that. So, I'll have it next week. I'll share that, but that's what I've been working on this week. Also been, I've been working on we talked about this last week too. It's still the MI book. I've been doing all the chord sets and right. Just doing that. This week was tough. I didn't really play as much because it was a busy work week. So, not to say that I don't play, on work time, but when I have a busy day, just kind of like I come home and I'm exhausted and I just literally will pass out, and the busier I am, I don't play as much. So like that's hopefully tomorrow I can just play all day and work on stuff. And I'm gonna definitely work on that Guthrie piece thing that you showed before. That's a cool lick. But no, that's that. Yeah. So I think we're good, dude. I think also. I want to also play our theme music, because I at some point we're going to have an opening segment and it's going to be our theme music.
Wait, are we going to get a copyright strike? Because I think so far nothing got us a copyright strike this week.
I don't think there's no way that this is going to be a copyright strike.
All right.
There's no way. Okay.
All right.
There's no way.
I hope not, because I want to see one video without a copyright strike this week.
This is going to be our theme music. Okay. And I am making an executive decision. This is our theme music.
Steve is so happy right now.
It woke me right up.
Steve can do another 20 minutes of this podcast.
Yeah, I just have to put the calliope on. So that's our new. That's our new theme music.
I mean, I feel like I'm walking down Main Street at Disney.
You know who's gonna like this? Your buddy Shane. This is New Orleans Calliope.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go.
We'll get that. see, we put that on, and he'll be like, "Hey, man, I feel like I'm at home."
You guys
So
finally figured out your groove. You found your stride.
Yeah. So there we go.
All right. Well,
so
everybody,
are you doing anything for good for Easter?
I don't think so. This is the first year. I don't think I'm not really sure yet. I've been invited a few different places. I don't really know yet. I'm a last person planner kind of thing. But what about you? You sticking around?
Mom will come over, and we'll do that stuff. So it's gonna be mellow. But I'm gonna just try to play as much guitar tomorrow, and then get ready for Mom.
Show Mom your new Guthrie Govan lick.
Yeah, I'll show her that, so she'll enjoy that. So that's that.
Did your mom enjoy it? We'll end on this. How was your relationship with your mom and stuff, like playing guitar? Did she enjoy it? Did she?
No, dude. I mean, you were at my house. I mean, there's no way if she didn't, support it, that she would have let like all these derelicts over my house. No, she was very, very supportive. My dad was supportive. I mean, I think about it, and my dad would drive me. It's funny because my dad's like in his 80s now, and he's not really super healthy and well, and so like I've kind of gotten like I guess at this point I try to talk to my dad at least once a week, and just stay in touch with him. But we're having like really serious conversations, kind of like almost like not saying goodbye, but just thanking him and kind of reminiscing, and like stuff that I never would have thought of doing when I was a kid, ever.
Right. Yeah.
And so the other day we were talking about it, and this came up, and I was like, I thanked him for taking me to all these guitar lessons and all these places. Because, dude, I'm thinking about it. My dad's working like 40 to 60 hours a week. And then, he'd come home from work at night, and he'd drive me down to, from where I lived in Bergen County down to, Union County, sit in a car for an hour and a half while I was taking lessons with Steve Ross, and then go back home. And he did it every week because I was too young. I was 16. I didn't have a car,
Right.
So I my parents were very, very. How about your parents? Were they?
Supportive? I mean, they were supportive. They got me my first guitar. They same thing, drove me to lessons and stuff, and did the whole. But they weren't. It's not like they were into it. Like they didn't when I was playing, my mom would walk by the room and close the door, probably because I was so out of tune. And real quick, you know what, we'll save it for next weekend. We always do this, the bending thing. We got to remember to talk about the bending and the bridges and the guitars and all that. Very important technique that maybe a lot of people don't think enough about, or maybe they do. But my mom would, she'd walk by the room. I'd be playing a Bon Jovi solo or something, and Richie Sambora, and the door would close when she walks by, and I'm like, bitch, why is she closing my door? This is I'm playing this awesome. And then I realized when years later, I hear these audio recordings I had of myself, and it was so bad. The tone was terrible. I was bending one note sharp, the next note flat, so the space between what it was really supposed to be was just awful, dude. I'd be playing chords and the strings were out of tune a little, and just everything just sounded terrible. So I totally understand it, and they weren't into the same music. My parents were more into like Rod Stewart or 70s kind of artists, not really rock stuff. They were into the Sinatra, and there was somebody else I was talking to Scott Mark about when we went to the record store that was very 70s personality. So rock wasn't a big thing. I didn't learn any rock music from my parents really, except maybe Elvis or something. So there wasn't that, but still supportive. And did your mom or dad like listening to you play guitar, or were they into? Yeah.
I mean, I was lucky in the sense too, because I had my uncle was a pro bass player at the time back in the 70s. Yeah. And then my cousin, she's still active. She's actually got a couple of dance records. So like I kind of have a musical family, but my mom was kind of funny because she was like, sometimes she'd be like harsh. She's like, yeah, that doesn't sound like what you're trying to play. And I'm like, damn, that's mean. That's mean. But like,
Honest.
you know, you gotta, yeah, but you know, like we've had this discussion before, you know what I mean? It's the tough love that you
Yep.
kind of need
Oh,
sometimes
dude.
to kind of bust you
Yeah.
out of that. And like I remember exactly, I was learning an Ozzy song, and it was a Jake solo, and my mom comes in, she's like, and then I was also learning a Scorpion song, and Still Loving You, which is a
Oh, yeah, yeah,
great
yeah.
solo.
Yep.
And my mom's like, that's not the right, you're not playing the right notes. And I'm like, damn, like my mom's fucking
So, and especially because in
crushing
your
me.
mind you're hearing it, it's really close. I'm almost there, dude.
Yeah,
And for somebody, yeah, dude, it's so funny when you have those moments. I have when I first moved out here, I was doing some acting, whatever everybody does or whatever. And I may have told this story already, but I remember I was on a show for a couple years. It was a Saturday morning, you know, like Saved by the Bell kind of show, or by the same producer, but he had so many shows. There were like 5 or 6 shows.
It wasn't California Dreaming.
No. It was a show, Hang Time. It was a basketball show. So it was perfect because I was a basketball player and blah, blah, blah. And I was basically, it started as there were the main cast, and then there were like 2 or 3 extras that were on the basketball bench, and we were there for like 3 or 4 seasons. And then we had other people on the bench too, but they would come in and out or whatever. But we would get a line every once. This is the first thing I ever, and it was like every 3 weeks I would get a line. I'd get to say something like, you know, hey Mitch, what do you know, whatever, something stupid or whatever. And is
there any YouTube of this?
Oh, it's on on YouTube. Yeah. For sure.
Dude,
it's funny. So the best part about it is the funniest thing that ever happened. So first season, you know, I was working out. I mean, I was in the best shape of my life. The second season, I really got in the best shape of my life, to the point where during the breaks of the things, I was always the dude with my shirt off, sitting back lot, just hanging out, getting a suntan, just enjoying life. And most actors don't get suntans because then they have to do more makeup and blah, 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 blah. But I didn't care. I wasn't taking it that seriously at the time. And but so then the third season, I started eating a little too much craft service. I started living the dream, and I was partying with a couple people. That's when we started getting that entourage crew, and we were just drinking, partying, having a great life all day. Every day of the week was a party. And so I gained a good amount of weight. I mean, I gained a good amount of weight.
Really?
Not huge to the point where they would tell me, dude, you can't be on the show anymore, but enough to where, you know, I had the chipmunk cheeks. Things were, you know, getting a little stout. And I had my niece, Emily, who was, I think I could swear it was Emily. I'm almost positive it was her. She literally, I talked to her on the phone. I'm like, hey, how's everything going? She goes, good. I saw you on TV. Every Saturday they would watch the show. And so that was their way of seeing me 3,000 miles away or whatever. Like, oh, I saw you on the show again. You look great. Oh, you had fun. Oh, that. And then in the middle of that, she goes, yeah, but Uncle Dave, you look fat. And it was literally like, it was just the honesty, the brutalness that hit me so hard. And I was like, what? I didn't, and I never watched the show. Like, you just, whatever. And then I looked in the mirror, I go, yeah, maybe I am. And then I looked at the show, an episode one day, and I was like, oh man, that camera does add 10 pounds and now it's adding 20. But that brutal honesty of somebody just changed my world. That day I started working out again. So the same thing, I'm sure when your mom said that, you were like redefining what you're hearing and going, wait a second, this doesn't sound right, really?
Yeah, no, it was good. My parents were, you know, they were super supportive. And, you know, to this day, they still, you know, my mom and my dad's like, you know, you still play every day. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, good. He goes, that's the one thing you can do, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
That's funny. That's the one thing you got, man. Keep doing
it's
it.
the one thing I got. And I'm not even that good at it, but you know, it's cool, man. I'm very lucky and blessed that, you know, I had that experience, especially, you know, I think about it. My dad, you know, Paul Gilbert, I told this like on our first podcast.
Your dad's Paul Gilbert?
My dad went with me to the Paul Gilbert clinic. After the clinic was over, I was talking to Paul about going to GIT, and Paul basically convinced my dad to send me to GIT.
Wow.
Yeah, because my dad was kind of on the fence. You know, he's like, I don't know. You know, he's like, there's schools on the East Coast. I'm like, yeah, but they're not like GIT. You know, like
I got the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but Yeah, I had to have Paul Gilbert, you know.
Oh,
kind of
you're
sell my
lucky because
dad.
I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
I literally, so I wanted to go to GIT, but my mom would not let me go 3,000 miles away being an 18-year-old kid. First thing I'm doing, 19-year-old at the time. And,
yeah, I was 20 when I wasn't even 21 when I was out there.
And she's like, no way. She's like, you can go to Boston, you can go to Berkeley because that's a more reputable people, whatever, and you know you might have a career after that. And then there was also a few other schools locally that were decent musically, sort of whatever. So maybe start there. And then I saw AIM starting to advertise Landau Institute of Music, and I was like, you know what? And my parents, we had family in Georgia, or we had one family member in Georgia, and everybody else was a couple people in Florida. And so my mom's thinking, okay, at least if there's any problem, you're kind of close, which is ridiculous because you're still 1,000 miles away or whatever. It's like,
right,
or 500, you know, it's like it's still going to be 4 hours till the ambulance gets to you, and or your relative. So. But it was healthy. It was good. But man, if I had somebody like that, that would have been amazing.
I had to recruit Paul Gilbert to help. You know,
we're gonna have him on one day, and you're gonna tell him that story.
Yeah, how I got to GIT was like I called Paul Gilbert. No, but that really did help. I mean, my dad just basically didn't. You know, same thing. It's just like didn't necessarily. It was like, oh, you're gonna be that far away, and I'm like. I'm going to be far away no matter where I am, really. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to be able to get there in 5 minutes. So it was good, man. My parents, you know, still great. I'm going to call both of them Sunday. Actually, I'm going to see my mom on Sunday. I call my dad, you know, on Sunday, and that's it, dude. You know,
if anybody's watching out there and you're fortunate like we were and have good family, good friends, even if there's
all your parents.
Yep.
Tell them all you love them. Tell your friends you love them.
Because it goes quickly, and then we're not around all the time. And blah, old people saying old people stuff, but it's true, man. These years go so quickly, and blah, blah, blah. Enjoy it while you can. So if you're around for the holiday weekends and Easter, if that's a thing for you, enjoy the holidays and give somebody a hug. Give them a, you know, whatever. Share a beer with your dad. Make it a Guinness or a Kilkenny.
Yep. And everybody, thank you guys for joining us this Friday. I really appreciate you hopping in. Please do like, subscribe, follow, share, tell all your friends. These two idiots every Friday night have this crazy guitar podcast. And we really do appreciate you joining us. And David, I will leave it off to you to close. And thanks, everybody.
I think you closed enough, everybody. Thank you. And let us know what records you guys get next week. And we will see you on the next one.
Adios.
Peace out.